Hi everyone and welcome along to Sonic Academy with me, Chris. Today I'm joined by a Scottish producer who's released on the likes of FSOE, Outburst Recordings, which is Mark Sherry's label, Lange Recordings and Onderon's label, and also some small label called Spinning. I don't know where that is. He is also the founder of SKapade Studios in just outside Glasgow in Scotland. Please welcome to Sonic Academy the one, the only Stephen Kirkwood. Hi Stephen, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Chris.
How are you?
The show, yeah, I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much for joining us on Sonic today. We just wanted to get a little bit of insight into your world because, bizarrely, I was talking to both Future Sound of Egypt and Outburst, and your name came up from both labels going, you got to get this guy on. He's really rocking it at the moment, really, killing it the sound-wise. So I thought, I'm going to have to drop you a line, get you on Sonic Academy.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. It's especially from those guys, it's nice to hear those words, to be honest. So thanks.
Cool. So for those that don't know the Stephen Kirkwood story, let's go back. How long have you been producing, and what label did you first sort of get a break on?
Area Digital was the first one.
Right.
Going on the production thing, it was David Forbes' label, Area. It's named after his daughter, actually. It's he's been running that since about 2009, I think, around about then. And David's been an absolute cornerstone for the Scottish dance music scene. You know him yourself. Yeah. Absolutely. And so, spending some time with him in the early days, learning off of him as a mentor, really helped me kind of get my head around production. And then my first release came on his label, so that kind of started things off for me.
And what was the journey like to get to, were you hanging about, David, going to meet people? How do you get that start? It's kind of very different from when we did it. We give tapes in to DJs, or you had much more access, and it's a bit different now. So what was the first sort of step?
Well, I was actually promoting club nights before.
Oh, okay.
So I had a club night called Culture.
Yeah.
And it ran from like 2008 to 2012, and I brought in some names like Scott Project, Mark Sherry, David Forbes, Simon Patterson before it really broke through, just after Bulldozer came out. We also had Brian Carney just at the early days as well, so that gave me a footing into the industry, and it got me talking to people, which I think is really important. You've got to network, and me promoting club nights was a good opportunity for me to network, and through that I just started getting the itch for not only DJing but what these guys were doing in the studio. It really intrigued me, and throughout my whole life I've always been breaking down tracks in my head, or back when like Anna Lee 2 Times was on the radio, and like Deepest Blue and stuff, all the kind of cheesier stuff. I was always thinking when I was younger, man, this is so interesting, I don't know what it is about it. And it's just a natural progression from networking, combining that with what I was really kind of building as a passion, Then it kind of kicked off from there, and just putting the effort in, and it kind of came to fruition almost.
And for those that are just literally starting out, they're the beginner, where did you start? What was your path? Was it YouTube videos, or did you go and pay a course locally, or what was the path?
It was basically recording mixes that I was doing DJing. So I was always DJing first, so I was recording mixes, and then I wanted to do some cool effects, so I found Ableton. My friend gave me a copy of Ableton, and it was Ableton Lite at the time, Ableton 5 I think, or something like that. And I was just using it to chop up mixes and add filters on and stuff, so I was kind of getting a rough idea as to what production was all about. Very, 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 very basic, but like sticking filters on mixes and making them sound a bit cooler. That kind of got me introduced to Ableton, really. Yeah.
Cool. And then when did you feel you went, hold on, I'm ready to do something here? When was the point where you went, I'm ready to push these tracks out? Or is it? It's always a scary moment, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It's in your mind. You go from like an amateur way of looking at it, and then it flicks in your mind, like you feel like a professional, and that kind of change happened probably not even that long ago. I'd say maybe 2-3 years ago, maybe 2 years, because as you know yourself, it's a lengthy process, and you can easily get disheartened quite a lot, so it was just a case of doing the mixes, doing some bootlegs, and the bootlegs turned into remixes, and downloading MIDI packs, and it just kind of progresses. Into actually doing original mixes. And when it comes to trance, that for me is the most complex of the dance music stuff to make, because it's so many layers, and you've got to think about your spacing out and your stereo image and all of this. So it was just a kind of progression from mixes to bootlegs, and then as you progress through it, you start to learn more and more and more, and you just level up your knowledge, you know. And
is the scene in Glasgow with Mark there and David Forbes and there's a couple of other names, you know, even Freshly Squeezed Samples and stuff, is there a really healthy community, and do you all interact with each other?
I really find it's really exciting me just now, because obviously you've got Mark with Outburst, it's brilliant. He's been a long-term mentor of mine. Mm-hmm. David Forbes as well. You've got some great club nights through Michael Hutchison at Colours as well. Freshly Squeezed Samples, amazing guy, and David Sherlock, what a guy. He's proper business brain and a genius, to be honest. He's been in SKapade a few times as well, so absolutely there's a great community here. We're building a fantastic community with SKapade as well. We've got some of the best DJs coming through our doors here, like Calvin Logue and Mallorca Lee, and you know, from young to old, they're all coming through, and it's great to see. And I think we're entering into a new phase of helping each other now. Before it was always quite, you know, every man for themselves sometimes, you know, that mentality sometimes, you know, but it's definitely really starting to pick up, and there's a really cool community here, you know. It's definitely good.
I mean, I love to hear that. I love to hear that. I love these sense of communities, and I can see even in Dublin, the first agency with John O'Callaghan are starting to do little sort of things with Brian Kearney and you guys. Right. I love seeing these little pockets. Let's get on to some chat about production. When going through your stuff, there was one track that really stood out for me, and it's because it's more my kind of style. Is Lost My Mind. A very different sound for you. What's the story behind that?
Well, since the promoting days, as I was talking about before, I was always DJing at the start. I was always warming up for the guys I was booking. Mm-hmm. So I loved progressive sounds, always loved house music, and I still do. I love techno and I love trance. I call it all dance music. For me, I love dance music, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's a sound that I've always experimented with. And there was a time there where I was just getting a bit sick of the same sort of 138, 140 similar sounds, and it wasn't really something I had a desire to make. And I'd always been making more shuffly based, swing based music. So me and David Forbes and Kirkwood, we were meaning to get back into the studio together, more as sort of production partners as opposed to him teaching me, you know.
Yeah, cool.
Which was quite cool. Yeah. So we got together and we went in to initially do like a banging trance track or whatever, but just on the day I was like, man, do you want to just try something else? And he's like, let's do it. David's one of the most diverse, brilliant producers I know, honestly. He churns out some absolute masterpieces. But we got together and we were listening to some stuff on Spotify, like Taicho, really cool, just progressive sounds, not really 4x4. We were just really vibing off some different stuff. Mm-hmm. Found some chords that we were liking, pulled up Omnisphere, and get some nice reverse pianos playing, and before you know it, like 2.5 days and that track was done, you know. And you know, sometimes when you get a track like that, it's just magic, and it just pops together. So
and has it been a big track for you? Has it been a big success?
I mean, I think so. It's opened us up to a whole different market. As you said, it's not the typical, which is why we called it Forbes and Kirkwood, just to keep it a bit separate, you know, from what we're doing separately. But David texted me the other day. He's like, I just walked into a coffee shop in the West End of Glasgow, and they were playing it, playing the track. So I was just like, well, that right there just shows that it is entering into like almost the kind of public domain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
That's great exposure. So obviously, a lot of people are loving it, and it's going down well. So yeah.
Will we expect any more stuff in that vein soon?
Yeah, I think so. Loads of people are asking us for more. I mean, Ali and Fila and a lot of the trance guys were playing it, and some even like the progressive people were playing it, and you know, it got some good feedback from Anjuna on it as well. So it was one of those kind of crossover tracks that we're really quite proud of. So definitely, we'll do some more.
Brilliant. The other track I want to talk to you about is Steal This Track on Grotesque. I mean, it's got that sort of outbursty, techie trance. It's just a solid track. When you're approaching a track like that, what is the hardest? Am I correct in saying it's slightly different in trance, in that trance is more about the chords and the emotion, whereas this stuff's a little bit more about the groove and about nailing that just energy. Am I correct there?
Absolutely. It's basically techno and hard techno sped up a little bit. You're using toms for your bass lines. You're really working on the groove section and getting that raw, getting that bottom end absolutely solid. And then you go away into the breakdown, and then you can do something cool, and then you're back in again to the pounding out. And because you're using audio mostly, you're not able to do as much bassline changes like you would in trance. You're quite limited that way, so you're kind of forced down the raw route, you know. And a positive force to make that sort of sound, you know, proper techno, but you've got the trance breakdown. Do you know what I mean?
So when you're approaching those things, are you looking at techno sample packs for loops and noises, and you're not programming 16th bass lines? You're almost doing, as you say, tuned toms and stuff. Is that how you're approaching that sort of techie trance outburst sound?
Well, I mean, yeah, I've done that a load of times. That's something that a lot of techno producers do. When you look at guys like Umek, he uses toms and even kicks for bass lines, and I really quite like that style. So it's something me and Stuart from Second Phase, it was myself, Stuart and Gary that put that together. It's something that we like that style. We like doing that, and it's like techno to techniques combined with the melodic element of trance music, you know.
It's cool because you can get into that breakdown section where techno wouldn't normally break down, but you can do this big, large, epic, euphoric section, and then back in. And I love that sort of contrast, that juxtaposition between the straight driving darkness to the sort of light in the middle, and it's a really interesting sound. How is the tech trance sound translating across the globe? Would you find, is it Asia or America or Canada? Where is it sort of working for everyone?
Right now, Australia is like the #1 dance music. What I've heard is trance. They're really feeling that the kind of tech trance stuff and the kind of size stuff as well. I mean, it's like Vinny Vici. Just exploded all over the world. And just of recent developments there, I've seen Sander Van Doorn's is doing his Purple Haze thing again, which, to be honest, I absolutely loved that. And that's what really, he was one of my main inspirations when he was doing like tracks like Daisy, Blixum, Him 2.0, and he's like a remix of like was it The Police, Message in a Bottle as well. Going back. That was a sound that I just latched onto. I'm like, this has got the shuffle, it's got the groove, and it's taking you somewhere on a journey as well. So definitely the tech trance sound is coming back in a big way. It's always been there for sure. I've always been grinding it out over the last few years. Same as Second Phase, Mark Sherry, he's been sticking at it. But in a bigger scale, I mean, you're seeing it at Miami there, Sander ripping it out, proper tech again, you know. I'm going down the kind of more melodic, deeper route, which I love. So it's definitely in a strong place for sure.
No, it's definitely. I mean, it was a sound that I loved. I loved when Sander Van Doorn came on scene, and even early Tiesto records, like Silence and stuff, had that shuffly ding 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 ding, you know, bass. You know, it had elements of techno. The drums weren't fluffy. It was kind of aggressive, and then did the whole trancey thing. So it was, you know, those guys did it. It dipped away. I think definitely it's come back. So you're sitting down at a blank Ableton screen.
Yeah.
What do you start with? Is it a loop, or do you start bashing out stabs, or do you look for effects or sounds, or what's the first approach?
So actually use various ways, to be honest. But the first way I'd probably do would be, first thing I'd do would be to set up a loop, and then start going through some cool samples. Just to get a vibe going. Well, it could be percussion, could be something interesting on that front. It could be a stab, it could be a bass line, it could be finding a nice fat kick drum straight away. And I think for me, I like building a loop without thinking anything about the arrangement.
Okay.
Because what I try and teach as well in the studio is, like, a lot of the guys that come in, they struggle because they jump into arrangement mode too quickly. They're trying to get a 6-minute track done, and they've only got a kick and a bass and
Nope.
Get everything finished there, so you've got bones done, and then when the arrangement becomes so much easier. So I always try and build it to that point, using all like percussions, basses, kicks, hi-hats, just get everything grooving, and then I go, right, I'm happy now, and I can start spacing it out, and I've got the stuff there to with, you know.
And what way are you doing the shuffle? Are you applying something from the groove pool, or are you just moving stuff off the grid, and are you purposely unquantizing things to get that shuffle going?
This is an interesting one as well. When I first started off, I was always quantizing things.
So did I. For my first 5 years, I didn't realise you could unquantize everything, you know.
Because the thing is as well, somebody told me that you don't see music. And I'm like, right, the penny dropped. I was like, right, so you hear music, so it's okay to be out as a human being, because if you're playing the instruments, they're never going to be quantized like that, do you know?
Yeah, totally.
About some of the tracks I'm doing now, I'm like, I'm intentionally just playing it, and I'm like, if that sounds right, it sounds right. I'm not going to focus on the grid or focus on quantizing. That's something recent I've been doing, and it adds more of a human effect, a human feel to it.
I think that's a brilliant tip. It's because if somebody had told me, I remember the sort of time when I discovered shuffle, because when I first started out, I thought everything had to be so rigid and so on the grid, and I was kind of, why is there no groove? And then I would listen to these really funky records like Sander van Doorn. I was going, what is the shuffle? And then I kind of started playing about with swing, and was like, right, this is it. And then even pushing the boat even further, you know, when you get swing, and then pushing that off the grid even more, and as you say, playing stuff and leaving it, going, do you know what, that's okay, and it all starts to gel a bit better, doesn't it?
Exactly, it's absolutely spot on. Fully agree there, Chris. It's all about just remembering that people hear this stuff, and that traditionally, you know, quantize wasn't a thing when music was first being played, you know. So it's all about trying to capture that human feel for me, you know.
Brilliant. And so you've got your drums, you've got your shuffle, you've played some stuff in, you've got a real bang and loop going, and what's the first synth you go and grab? Is it a Silent or Massive or Serum or what?
Well, I mean, I've just got Serum there. I've been a bit late to that one, but I'm hearing it's taken over, you know, the whole wavetable situation. It's just adding, again, more to the sound, but I've actually just been going back to some stuff I used to use, like Massive, and just like going in there and seeing what, because there's a good chance not a lot of people are using those, and I like to try and go, well, if everyone's using that, I'll try and use the other thing. Massive's been really quite good to me recently. I've been really enjoying it again. It's just that, it's got that sound, you know, it's Massive, you know.
Yeah.
Spire as well, of course. Spire's great. The new Driftmoon Freshly Squeezed preset packs came out as well, and some of the stuff in there is amazing. I was actually overseeing Driftmoon
last week, weren't you?
Oh yeah, in the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
So it was a pleasure to go over there and see how he works. He's got everything rigged up there, you know. He's got all the proper compressors. He's got the like the actual units.
Yeah,
you know,
hardware.
API 2500 and all of that. They're sitting like, so he's running stuff in. So it's an experience for me seeing how all of that worked as well. So, but yeah, going back to that, you know.
And how did you find that experience of seeing digital sounds processed through analog gear? Did you go, hold on, there's something in this, or was it kind of?
Absolutely, you know, I loved. I'm kind of fascinated by it. You know, it's like there's something else to it. It's going back to kind of the roots, and putting your sound through outboard gear and stuff. It's adding just a warmth, you know. That I don't know if you can really recreate it in the box. I don't know. You might be able. You're getting closer and closer, that's for sure. But there's still something that kind of magical when you route something out and it comes back through, you know, for sure. There's
definitely something tactile about getting out of your seat and going and turning a knob and feeling something again. You know, I to this day miss having racks of keyboards that you can go over and just sit and stand at and twiddle a cut off, and you know that created moments in records when we were making them, but you know, in the moving a mouse doesn't. So you've been over to Driftwood. Is there a lot more collaborations on the horizon? Is there anything interesting coming up for 2017?
Yeah, I mean, loads of cool stuff. A lot of the stuff I really want to tell you, I can't tell you, but there's a lot of excitement building just now. I've got a brand new studio schedule nailed for this year, which I've not had up until this point. It's just been bouncing from running the business side to this, to that, to this, to that, which is another real proper tip, you know, is getting the schedule down. So I've done that, got the schedule down, and I'm starting to see the results coming, because I know where I am throughout the week. So some music, there's loads of cool new music coming. Some stuff I can't tell you. I've got some new bits on Outburst coming out as well. Looking forward to that. Remixed an absolute legend from the scene that got me into it. one of anyway.
Right.
Had the vinyls and stuff, so there'll be news about that coming as well. And plus, I'm doing some Stefan Wood's techno stuff.
Right.
I love that as well, and I've signed on Naked Lunch, which is A Paul's label, kind of harder techno, and Reload Black, which is the Yellowheads. So they're a kind of new act, a kind of recently new act. They're doing some great things. So I'm churning out both ends, techno through the Alias, and the Stephen Kirkwood stuff's just blazing high energy tech trance, which is coming out. A load of it's coming out this year. So.
And what about shows coming up for 2017? Any where can we catch you coming up in the next few months?
Well, the big one for me is just announced is I'm playing a Cream and Amnesia again.
Wow, very cool.
Which is unbelievable. I played it twice last year, but I wasn't on the bill.
Yeah, okay.
I just got the call last minute, and I'll be out there for sure. I've actually got a Cream tattoo on my leg that I got when I was 17 in Ibiza, as you can imagine.
Okay.
It was a bit of an experience. Watching Sander Van Doorn 6:30 in the morning and Amnesia the next day, right, I need to get a tattoo. That experience was just wild. So to go and play there last year was an absolute dream come true, and now this year I'm on the bill, so that's big. That's on the 29th of June.
That's a pretty incredible story. 17-year-old, you go out to the Ibiza experience the night of your life, get a tattoo, and then what? 5-6 years later, you're actually standing on the stage playing. It must be a bit of a head melt.
It was the absolute head melt of the century, to be honest. It's the biggest thing that's happened because there's such a story attached to it as well, and it means so much to me. The fact that I got my skin inked was like a testament to just how much it meant. So I'm on the bill there this year. I'm buzzing about that. Above and beyond, myself, Grum, and Gabrielle and Dresden, I think.
Cool, that's a serious lineup.
Big lineup. So I'm playing there 29th of June. A couple of days after, I've got a gig in Glasgow at the Big Joint, South Street in Glasgow. What else? And there's something just confirmed for Paris there.
Very nice.
Kind of late summer. So they're the three just now that I can say. There's as you know, sometimes in this game there's loads in the pipeline, but until you see it in paper, then you just need to.
Until you board that flight, they're never in the bag, because you can be driving to the airport and get the phone call going, it's not happening. So you know yourself. Listen, thank you so much, Stephen, for joining us today on Sonic Academy. It's been brilliant, and there's some brilliant stories there where you start off as a promoter, networked, and guys that inspire you, got you into the scene, and also getting the tattoo and becoming on the stage in Cream and Amnesia. It must be an incredible experience, and things are just on the up for 2017.
For sure, Chris, absolutely, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I love what you guys are doing as well. I've been a big fan for years. So.
Well, thank you very, very much. It's a pleasure doing this. This is what I get to do during the day, is sit and talk to producers and pick their brains, because I listen to stuff and go, how's he doing that? What's he doing there? And this is much fun for me. So guys, if you haven't heard Stephen's stuff, go on to Spotify, check out Stephen Kirkwood. Or what's your techno alias? Is Stefan Wood?
Stefan Woods.
Stefan Woods.
Stefan Woods.
So if you want a bit of techno or tech trance, we'll hopefully see you on some labels in 2017 and catch you in Ibiza. That would be cool. Guys, thank you very much for joining us in Sonic Academy today, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Thanks everybody for watching, commenting, and indeed liking. We really do appreciate all the support we get here on our Sonic Academy YouTube channel. So if you found this video super useful, please, we'd love you to hit the subscribe button. We update the YouTube channel every week with new content, and if you want to watch some more relevant content, just click on the videos beside me.